everybody, Janessa here for another tip of the week. This week we are talking about flowers. Now it may not seem like there are a lot of nuances, details, and specificity to flowers, but you're about to be shocked. I wanted to give you the tools and the language and the knowledge to work directly with florists when creating your flower order. I have 7 tips and I'm gonna work backwards. So starting with number 7, biggest question we get on this topic is, how do I determine my budget? We'll talk about this a little bit more in detail a little later, but it really starts with what size of bouquet that you're wanting and what quantity of flowers you're desiring. So if you're just looking for a nosegay bouquet, we'll talk more in detail about the sizing later. You're really at a minimum gonna be planning on about $200 for a nosegay bouquet and boutonniere. A lot of boutonnieres come complimentary, 1 boutonniere per bouquet arrangement that you get. So the first thing I would start with actually are type of flowers. That's going to hugely change the budget that you are going to work with and how much your flowers will cost. So in general, for a budget, for a bouquet and boutonniere, I would say a minimum of $200. That does not apply to bouquets and boutonnieres on Hawaii. It's just a lot more expensive there in general. As a starting point, I would just say $200 or more. Number 6, so we're gonna talk about seasonal flowers. So there are some types of flowers like roses that are available all year round. There are other flowers like peonies, sometimes lilies, dahlias. I could go on. There are all sorts of flowers that are not going to be available to you year round. So when you're choosing your bouquet, you may not know what kind of flowers are involved. I would just ask your florist, are these seasonal flowers? If you're getting married in the spring and want peonies, you're good to go. If you're getting married in the fall or the winter and you want peonies, probably not gonna happen, but your florist will likely have types of flowers, like we see garden roses a lot in exchange for peonies, that will cost you less and have a similar look and feel. Number 5, different markets are gonna have different vibes. I would say the same thing goes for different seasons. So for instance, our Hawaii brides should probably use more tropical arrangements. If you're looking for peonies, even in the spring in Hawaii, not only is it going to be not so expensive, but it's just like gonna be really difficult for that florist to get that type of flower. So I would just be really mindful about where you're getting eloped and what season you're getting eloped. Another thing is, if you're getting married in the winter, I would recommend like a winter, color scheme as well as types of flowers. So I would keep that in mind. Another thing is in a lot of circumstances, if you don't know what kind of flower you're looking for, you can just give your florist a palette and then they can work with that palette. So if you're like, I just want maroon and peach and cream, and I'm looking for a winter vibe, then they can just work off that and get creative. In those instances, you're probably gonna get something super duper cool because florists super duper know what they're talking about. Number 4, I see this all the time and it is a huge no-no. Do not send your florist silk flowers. If you send them an image of silk flowers, you're probably going to get a bouquet of silk flowers. Now, if you're into that and you want silk flowers, more power to you, but a lot of people can't tell the difference. So I would just really take a look at the photos that you are sending over to your florist as inspiration, the types of photos that you're pinning, to your Pinterest page if that's a resource or a tool that you're using, because a lot of photos out there are of silk flowers and are either impossible to recreate or extremely expensive to recreate. Another crazy thing is silk flowers are not cheap. So you may think that you're gonna be going after a budget by doing silk flowers. I find, in my experience, more often than not, silk flowers cost either about the same or more. Now, silk flowers last forever, so that's nice, but my main point here is just be super duper mindful. You want silk flowers? Send them an image of silk flowers. If you don't, you need to find images made up of real flowers. Number 3, so sizes. We talked a little bit about this before. There are different sizes to be mindful of when you're dealing with your florist. So I've had brides complain about the bouquet being too small. I've had brides complain about the bouquets being too large. So let's talk about both ends of the spectrum. What we often recommend for an elopement ceremony is called a nosegay bouquet. This is about 8 inches large, and it's gonna be just like big enough to kind of sit with you right here. It's not gonna be really heavy, it's not gonna feel overwhelming, and it's the perfect thing to take outdoors and not feel like it's taking over your day. We do large bouquets, which is going to range in the 10 to 12 inch range. Those are gonna feel a little more full, they're gonna be a little more heavy and a little more cumbersome, and obviously they're going to cost more. Now, if you're just like, I don't care that I'm eloping, I wanna go all out, you can go with the cascading bouquet, which are the kind that kind of start up top and then cascade to the front. Those are gonna be heavy, those are gonna be hard to carry around, and it's not gonna be the most comfortable thing for you. So I would just keep in mind what you're looking for. Obviously, a new nosegay bouquet is going to be way cheaper than a cascading bouquet. So I would just keep that in mind. Number 2, delivery. So you may not think that delivery can be a complicated thing on your day, but it can be. I'm gonna give you 2 examples. So first of all, the island of Maui may seem like a small island, but it's actually pretty large. And there's kind of 2 main sides, the east side and the west side, even north and south. And if you're staying on the west side and your florist is on the north side of the island, it might cost you $50 to $70 to get your arrangement delivered to you, just because it's not close. The other island was really big as the big island. It can take hours to get to another part of the island, and not to mention traffic and other barriers. So I would just keep that in mind. Whether we're recommending you a florist or you're finding your own, I would just be really mindful about making sure that they are in the town that you're staying in. My second example is Colorado. So a lot of our ceremonies happen in the Denver area, but the Denver area is actually super expansive. All the way down to Colorado Springs, all the way up to Estes Park. It can take 3 hours to get from one location to another. So you do not want to find, if you're getting married in Colorado Springs, you need to find a florist in Colorado Springs. If you're getting married in Rocky Mountain National Park, you need to find a florist in Estes Park. So just be really, really mindful that whatever florist you're finding is actually in the area that your ceremony is or that you're staying at. Otherwise, they might not deliver to you. My last and final tip is be specific. So in the florist world, it's actually called a recipe list. And the recipe list includes the type of flowers and the quantity of flowers. This is just made for like our new standard bouquets. We gave them all a recipe list. We just wanted to be really specific about how they look, how they're arranged. If you don't really care, then this is not a tip for you. This is really for the brides that are gonna be super duper particular about the kinds of flowers that they want, the colors that they want, the color scheme that they want, and the arrangement that they want. So if you wanna get really granular with your florist, I would just say, send them a recipe list. Say, I want 10 peonies and 4 stems of baby's breath and blah, 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 whatever it is that you're looking for. Again, if you don't know what kind of flowers are in the arrangements that you're looking for, ask your florist and work with them to make a recipe list or an arrangement list. So that's all my tips for flowers. Hope it helps you in figuring out details for your bouquet, your boutonniere, your corsage, your crown, whatever it is you choose. See you next week, and thanks for showing up. Have a lovely week.